I'm a bad motherfucker.
More changes.
No, it's proprietary.
Thank you, Hristos. And back to Russ already.
All right. So speaking of Stella, we had limited time with Stella and with Julian Assange's hearing coming up. We really wanted to focus on that. But she mentioned in some of her comments how there is no real tradition of freedom of speech. There is no First Amendment in other countries. And very often, I think as Americans, we think that other countries, other Western countries are more liberal. And they are in some senses, but not in others. Certainly not in that sense, as we saw during COVID with how Trudeau debanked some of the people connected to the trucker convoys. But you know what? The people of Canada are fighting back. At least one person was not worried about getting dragged out of his home and debanked. And he gave Mr. Trudeau a piece of his mind.
Hey there, how you doing?
Shaking your hand, bro. You're a piece of shit, man. Why is that, sir? You the entire country.
How did I mess up this country?
Can anybody afford a home in this day? Charge your people carbon tax. You got 9 V8s here idling for 30 minutes. Your carbon footprint is increasing. We're getting charged for what?
You know, we're putting a price on pollution,
right?
And we're returning it to families like yours.
I don't think so. You're sending it over to Ukraine, right?
You've been listening to Putin, have you?
Putin? No. Definitely don't listen to your propaganda.
Weak. He goes,
all right, man.
Putin? That
good,
was his
good
response?
for him. Yeah, listening to Putin.
Wow,
Putin, I mean, that's what they always go to. You're right wing, you're bigoted,
Can he not say
you're
Nazi?
a phobe, you're an ist. What else are they going to say?
Well, he would say Nazi, but then they saluted that Nazi, so now that's probably out.
Now, I mean, these people don't know any shame.
That's true.
So yeah, I mean, good for our neighbor to the north there for telling Trudeau what he thought of him.
It's funny to see Canadians really, because this is stuff that was like the States kind of thing, of like being that mad at your leaders. Like that wasn't a thing that I was Canada for years.
No, the Canadians were always the nice ones.
And also they would look as like kind of, and then I started noticing a change around the time of the HRCs, those human rights commissions. Mm-hmm. That's when they started, some comedian got in trouble for something with 2 lesbians in a show, some hecklers, and he got sued for
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It should not have paid them nothing. But anyway, during those, there's a couple of incidents like that. And the woman who's in charge of the HRC was like, well, free speech is really an American concept. Whatever the hell that was. That's when I first became aware that it is.
Well, we're seeing this now with a lot of Western, particularly English-speaking countries, where we think we've got the woke mind virus.
No,
like they've got it coming out of their ears. Like all of these very dangerous laws are coming out of the EU. It's coming out of the Ireland hate speech law. We'll probably cover. Well, we'll definitely cover that at some point. And the real danger with these for people in this space are these internet companies going to go by different rules country by country, or once they pass these hate speech laws there, did they just change the whole algorithm so that we here are impacted by the hate speech laws of Ireland, of Canada,
that's the whole goal.
and so on?
The global corporation.
Right.
We want to get everybody, because I remember going to England or UK in like 2011. Okay, the black versus white racial politics were nothing like America. All of a sudden, we have a BLM and they have one at the exact same time with like the same, and that's when you see, oh, this is some global like funded company thing, and that's now they're making it like the same.
I don't, these guys are hit and miss for me. I don't always agree with them. One of the guys from Trigonometry did a video about basically this mind virus.
The ugly one,
and he was taught. I think the younger one, and he was taught. I think it was the one with the glasses. And he was talking about how in a country where police don't carry guns, you have these people walking around saying, hands up, don't shoot.
Yeah.
They don't even carry guns in this country. What are you talking about?
Right.
So, and the whole video explored how, a lot of this really started with smartphones and social media. It's just created this global environment where American cultural issues get transported to countries where they just don't even apply.
All over
it
the
just
world.
doesn't even make any
Brazil
sense.
is starting to happen.
I don't understand. Look, I can understand why when the image of America, as it was when I first went to Europe, little out of date, but they were obsessed with 1950s America.
Yeah, right.
And I could see why you would idolize that, right? The image of it, at least, right? Leather jackets and big 57 Chevy convertibles and malt shops and hamburgers.
Right.
Like, it looks like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
This America? Why would you want to import our racial politics to a country where it's not appropriate? Like, what's fun about it?
Okay,
like, why would you want to embrace
it was
that?
imported top down, so the people in charge want a
true.
homogenized Western world.
Right.
Because all these crazy, that's why I got, you know, a long time ago, when my friend Barry Crimmins is dead now, he'd say there is no left here, and I had a whole cancel bullshit thing happen to me, and I would go, you could have fooled me, Barry. He was right. There isn't one.
No.
None of these kooky ideas that anyone who thinks goes, that doesn't sound right. They would never be able to take off. They've been around for years. The only reason they can take off is because some very rich people, probably that work in finance, said, yeah, let's take that and that. And
right. The algorithm is pushing this kind of thing.
So it's not
you go to China, that's not what you see on your TikTok. You're going to see science and you're going to see math, from what I understand, particularly for minors.
You know what they used to say to me? Because I did a comedy tour there, and it was a kung fu comedy tour, which in America, I've told people it's called kung fu comedy. Like, that's racist. And I'm like, you are dumb as shit if you hear me in China and a thing called kung fu comedy tour, a thing that came from China, and you think it's racist. In China, they go, why don't you have any racist jokes? They said it like that. And I'm like, you mean like racial? Like, yeah. Because I don't really have a lot of that in my act about race stuff. They don't like talking about sex or religion.
Right.
They love race stuff. It's not at all.
There's in China?
Yeah, everything you hear about.
Well, that's why they want to go see The Little Mermaid.
Dude, they don't want to see Aquafina
that really confuses people, because it's supposed to be white heteronormative people versus the world. Yeah, then they send The Little Mermaid over to Asia, and they don't want to see it much more than Americans.
They want to see Matt Damon starring in a Chinese movie. You remember Matt Damon starring in a Chinese? Yes. And here in America, they go, why is it white European? Because that's what China wanted to pay to see. They got plenty of Chinese people. It's not exciting to them to have a star Chinese. They want to see one of the Hollywood stars and have we get Matt Damon.
It's a novelty.
Yeah.
Keaton?
No, I don't think I got nothing.
You're staying out of that one? Because we were just going to go through Disney's slate for next year. You don't want to cover that? Do you, Misha?
All right. Inside of the Ages, the Dems want immigrants that car vote to increase the census counts to grow the number of Dem seats, much like slave owners in early America.
It's just like Republicans did when they made up sanctuary cities, because they go, these are going to be like how Cubans have been very reliably Republican, what with all the Castro and such, and they're the ones that wanted the, don't what do you call it? The blockade of Cuba. Don't let anything in Cuba. That's Miami Cubans want. That's a block that reliably votes Republican. Nicaragua, all those countries where we put down the leftist rebellion, we got to let these immigrants in here for sanctuary. Those are going to be Republican votes. Gerrymandering. Now it's a Republican thing. Oh, these Republicans gerrymander. When I was a kid, I can remember Rush Limbaugh complaining that Democrats gerrymander. They just switch sides every so often. Not one of them has ever been on your side. You're a chump if you think they have been.
Thank you, Kurt. And Eric Husso, we need open extraterrestrial borders. Green lives matter. Thank you, Eric. Back to Russ.
All right. So for
things people love about you is they believe you tell it like it is.
Says it like it is. He speaks the truth.
It's about time we have a man like Trump in here. They ain't afraid to tell it like it is, man.
We like him. He tells it like it is.
He says what he means. I honestly believe he's telling the truth.
She has no natural talent to be president.
She's very talented, and she has a husband that I also like very much.
Hillary Clinton was the worst Secretary of State in the history of the United States.
Hillary Clinton, how did she do as Secretary of State? Probably above and beyond everybody else.
Let's say Hillary is president.
Hillary Clinton, I think, is a terrific woman. I think she really works hard, and I think she does a good job, and I like her. I will build the wall, and Mexico is going to pay for it, and they'll be happy to pay for it.
I'm not going to pay for that fucking wall.
This guy used a filthy, disgusting word on television, and he should be ashamed of himself, and he should apologize, okay?
Listen, you motherfuckers, we'll tax you.
I'm going to bomb the shit out of them. We'll beat the shit out of them. Political bullshit.
You're not going to raise that fucking price, you understand?
Donald, true or false, you've said the government should pay for everyone's health care?
That's false.
You've never said that.
Everybody's got to be covered.
Universal health care.
I am going to take care of everybody.
Who pays for it?
The government's going to pay for it, but we're going to save so much money on the other side. He said I was in favor of Libya. I never discussed that subject. I was in favor of Libya. We would be so much better off if Gaddafi were in charge right now. Gaddafi in Libya is killing thousands of people. We should go in. We should stop this guy, which would be very easy and very quick. Stop him from doing it and save these lives. They're here illegally. You take them, they have to go back.
We have to show some compassion.
Right,
we just can't throw everybody out.
They have
So
to
you're going to split up
illegal.
families.
Chuck,
You're going to deport children.
Chuck, no. We're going to keep the families together. We have to keep the families together.
But you're going to keep them
they have
together
to
out.
go. But they have to go.
How do you throw somebody out that's lived in this country for 20 years?
North Korea has nukes. Japan has a problem with that. I mean, they have a big problem with it. Maybe they would, in fact, be better off if they defend themselves from North Korea. Maybe we would be better off. Including with nukes. Yes, including with nukes.
They said, I want Japan to nuke. I want Japan to get nuclear weapons. Give me a break.
But if you say to Japan, yes, it's fine, you get nuclear weapons, South Korea, you as well, and Saudi Arabia says we want them too.
Can I be honest with you? It's going to happen anyway. So it's only a question of time.
I'm a conservative person.
The Republicans are just too crazy right. I mean, just what's going on is just nuts.
Bush says, I do not believe he's a true conservative. These people are stupid.
Do you identify more as a Democrat or a Republican?
In many cases, I probably identify more as a Democrat. The economy does better under the Democrats than the Republicans. I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacists.
What do you see as the biggest problem with the Reform Party right now?
Well, you've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party. Wages too high. We're not going to be able to compete against the world. I hate to say it, but we have to leave it the way it is. I don't know how people make it on $7.25 an hour. I would like to see an increase of some magnitude.
Do you believe voters have a right to see your tax returns before they make a final decision?
I don't think they do.
If I decide to run for office, I'll produce my tax returns, absolutely.
There have been many presidents that have not shown their tax returns.
Actually, every single nominee since 1976 has released their tax
before
returns.
1976.
Nobody was worse to women or abused women more than Bill Clinton.
Look at the trouble Bill Clinton got into with something that was totally unimportant.
She's married to a man who got impeached.
They tried to impeach him, which was nonsense.
He was impeached for lying.
I'm the only one on the stage that said we should not go into Iraq.
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so. You know, I wish it was. I wish the first time it was done correctly.
Honesty, Carter once said, I'll never lie to you. Would you say that, the American people?
I would never lie. When I'm president, I'm a different person. I can do anything. I can be the most politically correct person that you've ever seen. I can be the most politically correct person in the world. And I can be the opposite. The president has to be a great leader, and you have to lead by example.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? Like to punch him in the face.
I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers.
Blood coming out of her, wherever.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay?
I don't know what I said. This guy will say anything.
Certain that Donald Trump has ever read outside of his own is the book of Hitler's speeches he kept next to his bed in the 1990s, according to his ex-wife. His ex-wife, he was very pissed when she released that information, okay? Because at that time he was still liberal. He didn't want people to know it at that time. So somehow she fell down the stairs and cracked her head open, right? All right, so we're going to get into this, and I'm going to show you this, all right? 92-year-old C-SPAN caller said he met Trump's father, a fan of Hitler and dictators. During C-SPAN's Washington Journal call-in segment, Pete, who identified himself as a 92-year-old from West Palm Beach, Florida, said Trump's father, Fred Trump, visited his village and was a fan of Hitler and dictators. Pete implied Trump got his views of dictators from his father. Now, keep in mind that Donald Trump was a libtard his entire life. Children are often heavily influenced by the views of their parents. Trump's father and Trump were sued for racial discrimination in housing, and Fred was once arrested at a Ku Klux Klan rally for failing to disperse. The 1927 article reporting the arrest doesn't make it clear Fred Trump's status or association with the Klan. Don't his actual loyalties to the brewing years of World War II if they happen to live in the greater New York City region. New York and its suburbs in Long Island and New Jersey had a vibrant community of first and second generation German Americans, the latter having included Fred Trump Sr., a rising star in real estate and retailing. Also active in New York, New Jersey region was the German American Bund, or Amerika Deutscher Bund, an organization that supported Adolf Hitler's Nazi Party and the goals and aspirations of the new Germany. The Bund had been created in May 1933 on the orders of German Deputy Führer Rudolf Hess. The first Bund leader was German immigrant Heinrich Heinz Spacknobel, who initially called his group the Friends of New Germany. In fact, the Bund was nothing more than an overseas extension of the German Nazi Party, and it took its orders directly from Berlin. Outside of the town in Windham, on American soil no less, right? The height of the Bund's activities was a February 20, 1930 rally at New York City's Madison Square Garden. This is the rally that I'm talking about right here, okay? This is the rally that Enlightened Master is telling you that Donald Trump's father was in, okay? Sir Norman Vincent Peale was Donald Trump's 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason pastor. This is the seal of the 33rd degree. It's also the family crest of Donald J. Trump. Okay, Albert Pike, who is the most famous Scottish Rite Freemason of all time, was the head of the Knights of the Golden Order, who later changed their name to the Ku Klux Klan. I'm going to provide it. Okay. I'm not going to be nasty to people. I'm just going to provide the information. All right, that's what I'm going to do. The elder Trump was publicly, he was even sued for it, publicly known to be a racist, and he refused to rent his apartments in Queens and Brooklyn to African Americans. Now, that must be a coincidence. In 1927, there were few organizations for far-right extremists like Fred Trump to join. One was the KKK, which had its roots in the post-Civil War Reconstruction South. Another was Italian lender Benito Mussolini's overseas Fascisti, which was primarily composed of Italian immigrants to the United States. By the early 1930s, far-right wingers in the American North were fast to embrace the Nazis, and Kunz Bund was able to ready to answer the call and begin recruiting in its ranks. Fred Trump's FBI file, which includes the 1927 arrest at the KKK march, appears to be missing his pre-war and immediate post-war year activities. The file does not resume until the 1960s, when the FBI began monitoring the elder Trump's association with mafia syndicates in New York. Brother, remember I told you and I've showed you unequivocally that his brother had everything to do with the murder of and the torture of Nikola Tesla. In New York, old man Trump also suspiciously volunteered after dodging World War II draft to construct Navy barracks and garden apartments in at least 3 highly sensitive Navy ports in Chester, Pennsylvania, and Norfolk and Newport News, Virginia. Yeah, that's right. He was a draft dodger, to all you Trump dodgers out there. All three ports saw thousands of Americans and Canadian troops embarked for combat in North Africa and Europe. Some of these ships fell prey to German U-boats, which received intelligence on the Allied ship movements from Nazi agents in the very same port areas where old man Trump so generously bid on construction contracts with the Navy. Right here, with the Navy. Let me repeat his treason again, okay? All three ports saw thousands of American and Canadian troops embarked for combat in North Africa and Europe. Some of these troop ships fell prey to German U-boats. In other words, Americans got killed because of Donald Trump's father, which received intelligence on the Allied ship movements from Nazi agents in the very same port areas where old man Trump so generously bid on construction contracts with the Navy.
Trump knows just how much racial hate he stirred up in the blood parts of the folks in New York State. He drawed that colored line that we fought in the last war, and we ain't got no home in this world anymore. Beach Haven ain't my home, I just can't pay the rent.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit